Hi everybody, Deeply Awake Kathy Vick. How you doing? I wanted to come because I am somebody who oftentimes travels on the tip of the spear. And what I've noticed over the years is that I'll be going through something, I'll have an understanding or an awareness or a shift, and then over the intervening weeks or months, but oftentimes like right away, without having any information about it previous, then I encounter a lot on the internet about that. And they're brand new awarenesses, like they've just been published and so I know that. It's been established and blah blah. So knowing this about myself, I'm usually pretty okay with whatever I'm going through, especially when it's big. And here lately it's been big. Manageable, certainly. And a heck of a lot of fun, but big. The word I got, and I think I mentioned it on my last video, was restructuring. I was going to sleep and the only word I heard was restructuring. And I found that very calming, and I was curious. And over the series of about 4 or 5 days, there has indeed been a restructuring in identity, primarily. And this is, I think, for some, a curious thing. That identity, read a novel, okay? Let's just do that. Let's pick Harry Potter, those books. Each of those characters have an identity, right? And within their identities are certain potentials, which would not be possible for other characters. See what I mean? So I've been working on a big scale here. I've been working with this Jesus group, the specific Jesus story. And that ties into Sananda energy. That ties into Lady Nada energy. And it ties into the Ascended Master energy. And where do I find myself compelled since before Christmas to go? The Aquarian Foundation, founded by a living master who was able to create jewels out of his hands. It's all documented. It's really the only place, and the permission is slim, but it's the only place that I've been able to find where living as an ascended one might be okay. You think it'd be okay at any other church? Probably not. They've co-opted the information and made it unavailable, inaccessible. They've hijacked and ransomed the words of Jesus when he said, yeah, I know I can do a couple of cool things, a couple of parlor tricks. You're going to do a heck of a lot more than me. A heck of a lot more. He was talking to you. And he was talking to me. And yet, talk to a psychiatrist. See how far you'll get. It tells me more about psychiatry and their imagination and their ability to hold a balanced stance toward humanity. Human beings are divine. one time during a very, very heightened period of about 6 days, I had a meditation, and I wrote about it, and I just reviewed it. It's just intense. But Jesus came and visited me. It was really sad. I think that's what it was. I don't remember, but he came to me. I was in my dad's kitchen at the table. And suddenly, the kitchen and up the stairs and down the stairs, Jesus had come. He was right there, and then, boom. There were like 20 of them. And he said, I know what's making you sad. You miss me. And it was then that he repopulated. And he was trying to explain that he's everyone. He's in every single person. He's in every single person's face and eyes. And yesterday, that was one of the lessons at church. And it was one of the admonitions that I was given upon leaving, to see everyone that way. How do you do that when they're snarling at you? How can you not? Who said snarling was bad? That's where I'm at now. And that's different. So, I want to share something that's really weird. Like everything about my life isn't weird. But, I can't place the time, and I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. I had journals, like 20 volumes of journals during the time that I was working with the teachers, and before. Since the early 80s. I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and I throw them all away. I threw every single one of them in a dumpster. Can you believe that? I didn't burn them. I threw them in a city dumpster. So they're out there in a landfill somewhere. Part of the earth, right? But one of the things that happened, I don't know, I think, yeah, it was before meeting the teachers. Like less than a year before I met the teachers. Alright, I was on a college campus in Denver, in the city, and I was just walking down the sidewalk, and all of a sudden, everything shifted. Everything looked different, the colors were different, the lighting was different, it smelled different. I felt different, and I knew this wasn't good. Uh-oh. I had nobody to discuss it with, but it felt weird. And I think it was during this time that I was, I don't know, compelled to go to, like, grown-up detention. I'd done something dumb, and I needed to go to a class to learn how to be a better person or whatever. And we were walking in, and everybody else was seated, and they all looked up, and loud as thunder, this voice boomed and said, "You are now the other." What? What? The other? All I knew is I was super uncomfortable, and I didn't like myself very much. I kind of loathed myself, and felt awkward and weird, and I sat down. And I would say that feeling didn't leave until just recently. I've been told that was by request and permission, an agreement, and it was part of Celestial Trigger. And it allowed the next phase to occur. So it was just a progression. And I'm really happy I'm here. That I'm here. I look back and it's not like I hate any of it anymore. I'm just really super glad I'm here. And I'm so glad I hung on. And I'm so glad I kept going. I can't hate the confusion. I realize now that when things got harder and harder and harder, until they reached a crescendo of, oh no, I have to stop this or I'm going to actually physically die. I was on a curriculum of doing things so that other people would be comfortable. Honestly, it mattered to me. And there were so many times when I knew myself to be the patient in the bed. That's why I was as intuitive as I was, as inventive, as mirth-filled. Because that was me there, sick. And I really feel like that is a lesson complete. I feel like I've come home to myself. This morning I received some messages, 11:44, and I want to share them. I got it so plainly. There's no such thing as healing. And I understand why now. I mean, I've said that for a while, but why? I've been saying mine is to just stand in the midst of other people's pain and misunderstanding and to just love them. How do you do that without reacting to the battery acid being thrown on you? How do you do that without wanting to instruct so that the person creating the conflict will stop creating conflict? How do you do this? How do I behave now? Who am I now? I've lived a triune life. Until I was 33, I lived a life of active spiritual living. I walked my walk. And I was a singular individual. And then the teachers went away. They ascended. And in fact, in 94, right on schedule, upon request, and because it was appropriate, they passed that mantle to me and to every single human being on earth. That was the idea behind the energy of 1994. That's why the grids were moved so dramatically that whales were beaching themselves. It was so human beings could hold ascended energy. And 22 years passed. And then the teachers came back to me. And I realized I was a living, breathing time capsule. Their teachings were the things that I'd been living. And when I'd gotten into trouble, it's because I'd forgotten what they told me. They're from the stars. They're from so far away. So far away. As am I. As am I. And as are you. Through this process of activation since 2016, I can tell you what I understand is that systems that are that create life, or that can sustain life, have twin stars. And we only have the twin suns. We only have the one sun. And it's because each of us, we hold that singularity. We hold the second sun within us. The two suns. And Gaia can't really do it on her own. She supports us. She's here because of us. And together, we are that second sun. It can be no other way. I know that I resonate with the Jesus group. I know that that's only one story. And it's a holy one. And it guides me, as does he. I'm not him. He's my brother. And I'm able to see him in other people now. And I couldn't before, especially when they were yelling at me and telling me to be something other than what I am. But up until real recently, I wasn't convinced of what I was. I've been saying again and again, everybody has DNA. Everybody has capacity for 100% activation. Everybody, in other words, has the capacity to be like a completely, like, utter light being walking around in jeans, right? Because that's what you are, duh. It's just your awareness that bars you from this. And so I always feel a little bit weird about things until I listen to a Native American. And I listened to one today, and Grandma set me right, because she reminded me of a few things. Stuff that I forget, because I don't give myself permission to hold them. I can't say to my white friends, yeah, I'm going on a vision quest, or I've been on a vision quest since I was in my 20s. I don't have access to a sweat lodge. Partly, you want to know why? I honor them so much. I'm a white person. I would be wrong. So I'll listen to YouTube, and I might go to a Star Knowledge conference. I think that would really still my soul. But I always hope that I'm going to walk into one of them and they're going to say, "Oh, sister, you've returned." And they're going to give me some kind of name. It would be so nice to have a family where they just talked about Ascension and said, "Pass the butter," where it was normal. But I have that now. I have, I am part of a foundation that, it was founded by a real life, like, here and now, physical ascended master. Well, cool. And, there's no, head of the thing. The teachings are the head of the thing. There's no person who's in charge. Cooler. And it's just me. It's the Aquarian Foundation. I'm so happy. Yeah, you always find your way home. Eventually, you find your way home. Always. So, I guess I'm having a real happy time because I am really just feeling super comfortable with who and what I've become. I'm so excited about my birthday. It's going to be a 12 year for me. And there's 12 years left. 36 years since 1994. 12 years left. And I'm in a 12 year. Again, it is no accident. Because although my teachers ascended in my 33rd year, and although I then had 44 years in the desert, feels like it's only 22. Now, well, I get to do something else. A triune life. It's my human design pattern. It's the way of the hermit who gets exposure to some things and then climbs up onto the roof. Not disengaged, really. Available, certainly, but an observer. The other. And then come down and you teach. That's the whole idea. You are an example. You teach by example. That's my human design thing you do. And true love is part of it. Yeah. Well, it can be now. It couldn't before. I can include more love in my life. Now that I've finally acknowledged, just what this blazing love of God means to me. And I will never abandon it again. There's no need now. My desert years, what I said it was 44 years, it was only 22. It was spent trying to please the other. And yet when I was coming out of, I tend to flip right into, I go out of my body as soon as I hear this one particular guy start talking, Reverend Reinhardt, who founded the Aquarian Foundation. He only has to say about 3 sentences and I'm gone. And as I was coming back, I did that twice yesterday. The second time as I'm coming back, I'm hearing him say, and there will be no other people. It will be like it's only you again until March. And then he started talking about whatever he was talking about. So I was sitting there arguing with him as he was, on the tape. March? What are you talking about, March? I've got people in my life right now. March? What does that mean? I'm supposed to have surgery. I'm not going to have anybody in my life. Are you talking about the surgeons? Is that who's going to be in my life? Is that who's important? Am I going to die during this time? Yeah, that's where my head went. Yeah. All right, March. Fine. Because for me, I always, think it's going to happen like that. Some things do. Some things are going to. This is a time where I am so glad I am where I'm at, because I'm going to be able to dance a jig and giggle. As I think I heard Ron Head, they were in the channel they just released, they said it's like the veils are going to light on fire. So I love that. I think I might have to review that old channeling Stilts and Fire now. Stilts and Fires. It's really funny. So, and I'm ready for it. I've been waiting for it for a super long time because it's so ridiculous. And now I'm really okay with this mastery thing. And I don't have to go walking around. I'm pretty clear about what happens when you walk around saying that you're a master. Yeah, it's not good energy, believe me. Bad juju. And I've really had, the last couple of weeks, I've had some really super great energetic lessons. I was in a period of really a fugue after malfunctioning due to rage. I mean, super malfunction, because I love that energy. I can completely decimate someone, and I enjoy doing it. I like doing it. And I'm good at it. And I got to see that for the last time. And I felt for hours the sensations that go along with having a spasm of rage that is externalized, that is vocalized, that is acted out. It took someone loving me to feel better. I had been loved the whole time. But in that space, nothing but trouble. Nothing but troubles. Ooh. I could get no traction anywhere. No one was helping me. And people who were my friends were turning me away and not being nice. It was weird. It was really super weird. And I made agreements with people that later, I mean, like the last couple of days, just turned to shit. It was during that time. Whew. Intense. And then I had an experience where literally I felt like I was pinging, pull emotionally. It was weird. It was through the night, and it was, I don't know how to describe it except that I just let it roll. And it was before that I heard the word restructuring. When something brand new happens energetically, I think it's for me, what I do is just allow it to happen. I don't have to understand it. And if I'm by myself and I'm not posting anything and I'm not speaking, that's how I manage it. And I watch it. And I am it. And I'm with it. And I learn from it. I become it. I love it. And then do I release it, or does it release me? But it was intense. And the only thing I really have from that, when I'm talking about it, is this knowledge and the words, I'm home. And anyone who's been following along knows how important home is to me and how damned elusive it's been this lifetime. And I am home. I am not the other anymore. Neither am I a self. I am a master of reality, of energetics, of harmonics, of expression, of love, of healing, of inspiration, of ascension. I have done this ascension thing on other planets. And I have those memories. I have the love of my people. I know them. I've seen them. I am blessed among men. And yes, I am on the tip of the spear. And if you're watching at 3035, oh my friend, so are you. This is not your story. Thank you for listening to mine. Thank you. And I think now I can begin to hear other stories. More and more and more. There was a reason why I had trouble monetizing this energy. I just didn't understand what to do with it. And I've been very blessed with people still in my awkwardness and my unprofessionalism and my complete confusion, reaching in and saying, yeah, I want to purchase a reading from you. Or I want a reading from you. So now I know better how to structure it and how to help people with reading. And this book, I keep seeing May 25, and I know where it's going, and I know where I'm going, and I don't question it, and I'm ready. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. So, never, ever, 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 ever is anyone to think that I am anything other than a regular, ordinary, boring human being. I was a nurse. I'm a child of the suburbs. I'm naughty. I don't consider things that other people consider sinful. I don't, because I don't believe in sin. I believe in responsibility, and I believe in my soul, and I believe in doing what my soul asks of me, in alignment. The things that I have received in meditation are yours. And these things, including the column that I know, I ride. I could never think of cordoning that off or ransoming it. But I do so look forward to having one little volume. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. And it's so great to really feel. I got messages like for about a week when I was in the weeds. It was like little terror bubbles because I was getting information. Holy crap, this is really needed. Yes, now. Yes, now. Now's the time. Yes, now. And then yesterday, I received my message. The very first thing that came through was, there's a book. The masters really think you need to be doing this book. It's like, yeah, I agree. So it was a blind reading, and it was just like, whoa. Well, thank you. So I do want to talk about, I'm going to just kind of freewheel it here for the next little part because I'm feeling so in so much celebration for this process and for what has occurred and the shifts that I stand as a representative of. Please understand, I am not alone in this weirdness. And by weirdness I mean, I don't know, prophetic dreams and bilocation and all that kind of stuff. I've got buddies. And this sea of humanity, this sea of suffering, this sea of people in such grave misunderstanding fade. They are me and I am them. And yet I now stand as more. It's been shown over and over again the last little bit that I'm a catalyst. They told me one time I inspire the desire to love. I don't necessarily inspire the desire to love me. I inspire the desire to love. Well, okay, that's nice. I can do that. But if someone has their heart super closed and they're suspicious and they've been hurt, and I walk in, well, are you ready? Are you ready? I've been told lately that the energy I hold is such that people change when they have physical contact. They physically change. And so if people are not in my reality, it's because they understand that and they don't want that. And so, and I know this to be true because I saw today in the morning time, there is no such thing as healing. Oh God, there is no such thing as healing. I can't heal anyone. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's a misunderstanding. There's suffering. There is suffering. Yes. That's eased with gentleness. That's eased with standing in love. For and to and with that person. That whole, complete, perfect person. I understand now. I keep seeing this thing, this white thing. It's like it's big being. And then people around them on the like, and that just by standing there, it helps. And it just is pounded into my head. Gentleness, gentleness, gentleness. What heals? What's always healed me? What's never failed to heal me? Gentleness, gentleness, gentleness. Gentleness. Well, I've been self and I've been other. And now I can stand as something more. I know what it's like to inflict pain. I know what it's like to make someone else suffer. Because I think that's appropriate to the situation. I know what it's like to suffer. I know that very well. At the hands of people who don't care. Doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter. And I've become, as a result of those and many other experiences, more than what I was, not less. It's funny. This foundation I go to, they're tested mediums, is what they're called. The people who founded the church. The things they do, the things they were able to do. You need evidence. There's plenty of it. They were tested scientifically at the time with things, gizmos with dials and stuff, and physical barriers and stuff. My guess is they weren't tested by the psychiatric community. Well, the psych community believes as a group that people don't change. That change is that disease must be treated with drugs and talk therapy. But that this therapy can be regimented, I guess. I'm not talking about Jungian psychologists and things like that. I'm talking about out-of-the-box psychiatric community. I need to diagnose you because you're on a hold. Let me look at my recipe book. Let me hear your symptoms. Oh, you're a blah, 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 blah. That means you get these meds. It's not quite like that, but it is kind of cookie cutter. And there is an energy that folds into itself, right? There's an energy, I've seen it recently again. I haven't seen it for a while. And to see it on and off, just sporadically popping in, it surprises me. Because it's energy where I can be absolutely, like, standing in 100% neutrality and, like, seeing you as the Jesus. And that bends. It gets bended and twisted. It gets flipped. And things go bad, and then they get worse, and then they get worse, and then they get worse. And that used to really bother me. Because that's the energy of the crucifixion. Of, you know, pew, pew, pew. No matter what is said, pew, no matter what is said, pew. Now, I'm not saying that I've had crucifixions. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this twisty energy where you can be standing there in absolute love, giving, explaining, nurturing. And it's not simply being misunderstood. It's active. It's an active force that comes along and twists it. The only way that I've found I've not ever found a way to remedy it in the moment. It's so powerful that I just, it's the kind of energy where you must stop fighting and float. Any word you say is going to make it worse. Do you know that kind of feeling? No matter what you say, it doesn't matter. They're going to see it wrong. They're not going to understand. That energy. Well, I know that energy is around the planet. Come on. But to have it in my face and in my reality, whew, it's been weird. I'm being restructured. I have been restructured. And I know what to do with that energy now. In fact, I was given a couple of opportunities. And I'm happy to say I passed my own tests. That's the energy that just makes me, that creates its own feeling state. And it's the kind of energy that if I don't get the message to just unplug, give up, things get bad. They get really bad. Why am I mentioning this? Well, it's because I've noticed a few things energetically. Like about 3 weeks ago, this dark thing that I understand that it's a collective sort of quotient. It's a reality. It's an energy. It changed. It's like the mainframe was unplugged, but then as a result, all these tentacles. It's like all of a sudden, all these tentacles. It wasn't a blanket anymore. It was like invasive tentacles. And I didn't connect it until just now. But I think these are little runners. I like to call them runners. And I'll give myself runners. If I'm going to go to an event that I'm scared about, or I think I'm going to fuck up or whatever, I just, especially in the car, it's a slam dunk. I'm going to be clean energetically in the car. And on the way, please, I need those runners. And then all of a sudden, I'll see in the corners, and then sometimes lining the walls, big huge masters holding the spaces, holding the corners, saying, "Okay, girlie, we're pumping the light. Everything's cool. Come on in." And things are much better if I do that than if I don't. Are there dials? Are there gizmos with dials to measure that? I only talked about it once, but there was one night at the very beginning. I think it was in 2012. Could have been 2013. But I was driving to work, and I was doing the runner thing, and I was in such a great place, and I have white light just streaming out of my eyes. So I said, "Okay, pump the place. I want white light," because I would play with light. Oftentimes I do that with light and color. So pump it with white light. And of course, it was done. It was just like blazing by the time I got there. And it was categorically, it was the worst night I had ever spent on a psych unit, bar none. And I've had some shitty ones. And I realized, adding a bit of color, not a bad idea. Not everybody can handle this. Not everybody can. Is it being gentle? No, not necessarily. And so I'm going to be working with that dispensation because I want to be able to emit scent. I want to be able to smell lilac. I've been doing it, but not volitionally, and I want that for others and myself. I am looking forward to gaining more skill in working with physical matter, working with energy. Really just working with energy. But I was asked a while ago if I was ready to proceed with the next part. And it's far more technical. And I'm looking forward to it. I've already begun. I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. I just want to keep going. So I'm not entirely sure what's on this tape. It's very odd. Because I did another tape and that was similar in content, but I didn't like the presentation. I just wanted to go again. It needs to be said at this point. I understand I hold ascended energy. That's been the point. Since I came in, since I had the language in the 90s, I have been saying when anyone wanted to ask honestly, earnestly, why am I here on this planet at this time? It's to ascend. Ascension is a process. It's physical. It involves DNA activation. But it involves identity. And it involves what can only be termed in this language holiness, sacredness, This is sacred knowledge. And if you're still here at 50:05, all I want to say is thank you. You have a sister. I'm not here to set myself apart. I am singular. I am an overcomer. And I am a solar angel, just like you. I used to weigh 300 pounds. I rattled when I walked because I was a pillhead for years. I was a drunk. I was an abused and violated woman. I was abused and I was violated as a female. I didn't have a voice. I lacked confidence, a sense of self-worth. And I can use the past tense with all that stuff. I asked a question at the beginning. Does having conflict in your life, maybe you're the cause of it, does having conflict in your life bar you from ascension? And now I know. It was really great to ask that question. It was really great to take a lot of time answering it, exploring it. And now I just love it. I just keep seeing myself standing there, loving people. You want to know why I can? I've been in distress. I've been in need. I've been depressed and feeling desolate in my life. And during those times, I had people there at the right time who were gentle to me and who just seemed to not notice how much hate was inside of me. They let me howl. They saw what was best and true in me when I couldn't see it in myself. And they loved me. Some of them desired me. When I found nothing about me worthy of the time of day, really. Not worthy of that kind of adoration and devotion. And I've really, really done a great job of smashing and hurting and punishing and making suffer that which was crooked and unjust and unkind. I was the great Kali, and I was the innocent lamb. At this point, I know who I am. And I was all of those things, and none of them. I'm so pleased to give this to you. I'm so thrilled about the upcoming eclipse, and I'm really excited about my birthday and the numbers. Me in my 12th year, and the planet on the countdown. 12 years left. 12 years left. And once I figured that out, and then the numbers of today, I knew I should come. I give this to you in humility. In humility. And in deep honor for your presence in my life and on this planet at this time. I'm glad we're here together. I hope you know I really, really mean that. And I oftentimes see people, when I think about what I'm doing, when I look at the stats and I see the countries, and I know we're together. We're waking up. We're safe. We're safe. And this is our time. So as I assume my position, I know that it may take days or weeks or months. I know that there are those further along the path than me, but I know that we're going to be seeing great things very soon. And I am so excited about this next part. I'm glad I'm still here. I'm glad I kept clutching my ticket, even when I was fully asleep, sitting on my suitcase in that abandoned railway station, waiting for that GD train. When is it ever going to come? And I've used that metaphor throughout. We've been walking around in the new land for a long time. But, I think that I need to maybe frame my ticket, let go of my clutch, and put it up on the wall. I may put it in my bathroom so I can see it frequently. But, yeah, it's a done deal. It was a long wait, and it was a long train ride. But, yeah, we've been here a while. So, just a postcard from the new land. Let's say it's that. A love letter from home. I'm home in my skin now, and I love my haircut. Sam saw it and said, you should keep that, and I'm so full on about that. I'm going to be dyeing it next. I said, oh, it's too extreme. I can't put color in it. It's already too extreme. No, it isn't. I love this part too. I can just go, and I'm so dykey. Yeah. And I can do this and be less dykey. Now she's just a creative. What can you do? God, those creatives. All right. From one creative to another. Thank you for being with me. It's a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste.